another expedition of the Anime Encyclopedia. Third edition of the Crypt. Hopefully I'm noticing already there's some hiss on the left channel, isn't there? Oh, bastard. You were doing totally fine for like an hour. I was watching the entire time. That's not fair. Well, you know, it's not quite 6 yet, so I suppose it's okay if I unplug and try to figure this out a little bit quick. Real quick. 1 second. Seems okay. I swear if I have to keep doing this. Howdy, howdy. Greg and Car. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna try to attempt. I'm sorry. Good seeing you both. Yeah. So, third edition. Read through half of it, and we're gonna be reading one of their articles. As you know, usually I try to do one of their articles per time I do third edition. So this one's today is Documentaries and History. I don't know how interesting it'll be, but we'll see. I think it'll still be fun. Yeah! On my screen, I'm sorry. I'm afraid of moving my mic. Treasure Island. You finish like a new show every time you come on stream, man. Very impressive. Totally possible. I'm not like shocked, but heck yeah, man. That's awesome. Yeah, Takarashi was really good. I enjoyed it. It's not like a favorite of mine, but like it's a banger. I've watched it again. Yeah. Just the usual stuff, you know. You know if the levels are okay too. I might be too far from the I could just turn the music back to the music, yeah. Also just me not talking very much, I guess. But yeah, I see like the right one is doing a lot more. I don't know what the hell's going on, man. It's annoying. But I don't want to like switch to like this thing. To like I think it has a mic, I assume so. But it's just so crappy, you know? Annoying. I can't hear you on my left earbud and there's static on that side too. Oh yeah, perfect. Great. I don't know what it is. I'll try one more time with this thing. It's at 6 right now, so hold on. see it's on the right one. You can't hear me on the left. I can see the levels and stuff. Hi guys, glad to catch you live. Good to see you, Alice. I'm sorry I'm having audio problems. As it be. I'm also just in the trying to figure things out. Maybe try blowing your track sometimes. I've been making my way through words down. Nice. Yeah. I haven't played. I'm not too interested in Mother. No one talks about the first one, but Mother 3 as well. I'm very Man, this is way worse than having video problems. Like, way worse. I hate it. I'm so sorry. Music's really nice. I really appreciate the compliment. It's not my music, but yeah, the choice. I appreciate it. I think it's good. I think it's okay now. But we'll see if it just decides to not work anymore, you know? Okay. It's echoing now, plus static. Okay. It seems pretty smooth. I swear, man. I'm gonna be in the middle of reading this, and I'm not gonna notice that all of the audio's bugged or completely screwed. I'm gonna move the mic a little bit. I have to get back on screen. Sheesh, man. Anyway, this reading was not that eventful, to be honest with you. So, okay. Thank you. The reading's not that interesting. Not the thing we're about to read. I mean, like, D 3rd edition. There wasn't anything that was like, oh boy, or whatever. Maybe one or two things, but we're gonna try to make it not too nearly 3 hours like the last. I guess it was fair because I hadn't streamed in a while. I was gonna be back, kind of thing. Only minor static. Okay, good. I'm fine with that. Okay, so we're gonna start with this article they wrote called Documentaries and History in the Encyclopedia. Thank you. Cool. And if the audio gets, I'll put the comments like really close to where I'm reading, so in case I'll see the comments and stuff. But I'm gonna read this article about documentaries and history, and we'll comment. Check it out. I have not read this yet. I usually save these for reading for the first time on stream and stuff. So let's check it out. Although often regarded as a wholly fictional medium, anime has a documentary and instructional tradition dating back to Seitaro Kitayama's one-reeler, What to Do with Your Postal Savings, Chokin no Susume, 1917. Okay, so I think this is probably just a catch-all about all the different kind of, like, instructional videos and like the traffic safety anime that existed with like Ojamaja Doremi and Bomberman, things like that. But we'll see. They have a fairly sized article about this, A pioneer in this field, Kitayama also made animation segments for the film Dental Hygiene, produced by the detergent and toothpaste manufacturer Lion. Animation was useful for illustrating abstract concepts and the inner workings of machines. Although works for children are still form the bulk of early anime, many were factual in basis. Notable examples include Kitayama's atmospheric pressure and the hydraulic pump, plant physiology and plant ecology, and the Earth. All of those are from 1921 and 1922. So we're talking like really old stuff, which is interesting. His fellow early animators were kept similarly busy on informational films, such as Sanai Yamamoto's The Mail's Journey, made for the Colonial Governor General's office in Korea, and The Spread of Syphilis, with a subject matter that might be worthy of consideration as the first adult anime. I guess. There's a traffic safety video for Touch. It's hilarious. Yeah, I imagine. Oh, yeah, I imagine. That's really interesting. Tai Kato's Lice Are Frightening was released in Chinese for the Manchurian audience and featured a call to better personal hygiene through a narrative that relied on animated lice. Animators also formed a subset of the Proletarian Film League of Japan, disbanded in 1934, for whom films such as Prokichi Ajita's Consumer Union served as commentary on abstract disputes, once again intended for adult consumption. The union's most infamous work, Slave War, from 1931, was banned, seized, and returned heavily cut by the police after it unwisely suggested that the Japanese in China were no less worthy of censure than the other imperialist powers. Interesting. Doesn't Bebop have an anti-gambling PSA or something? Oh yeah. Such an instructional role. I haven't seen the traffic safety video. I just mean its existence is hilarious. Oh yeah, I get. Yeah. It makes sense. Such an instructional role transferred easily from... It's a popular show, that's why. Such an instructional role transferred easily from agitation to establish propaganda purposes, used to depict scenes both accurate and otherwise in wartime anime such as Nippon Banzai, and a prolonged sequence in Momotaro's Divine Sea Warriors, detailing the alleged abuse Asia had suffered at the hands of Western imperialists. The authors suspect the latter sequence may be a recycling of the former. Arguably, the greatest and most notorious flourishing of this mode came in the activities of the Toho Aviation Educational Materials Production Office, or Shadow Staff. I've heard of this. A dozen animators who made 21 military instructional films between 1939 and 1944 on subjects such as torpedo essentials, aerial identification of marine vessels, the principles of bombardment, and the essentials of dive bombing. These films were never publicly screened, and none of them appear to have survived the war. According to the memoirs of one animator, Soji Ushio, it was these animated films that were used to train the pilots who attacked Pearl Harbor. The first anime TV series, Instant History, set the tone for many other educational programs by dramatizing important events. It formed the first iteration of what would eventually become the Kirin Monoshiri series of programming concerning this day in history, which would run in one form or another for the next 20 years. The process of documenting history came to narrative fruition in Animentary, Critical Moments from 1971, which concentrated so heavily on the recreation and operation of realistic World War II era military machinery that it was the first anime to feature a mecha designer. Such attention to detail would later impart a new degree of naturalism to the real robots of science fiction. Serials of short informational films used comedic setups to convey information about law and society, in The Hapless Adventures of Outside the Law and The Inquisitive Kids of Just Another Family, from 1976. Animation was also used to present views of the future in Fifth Ice Age and Computopia from 1968. I'm sorry if I'm just being random with my dates. I'm just like trying to give you a better sense of the timeline of like, you know, where this is landing, you know. They're not listing every single date that they're giving you here. Because it's kind of redundant, like 1967 and 1968, you know. Drifting even further from the straightforward presentation to the predictive fiction of Until the Undersea City in 1969. Yeah, so this is still going, yeah. I'm sorry I don't have too much commentary about it. I just find it really informational and interesting. And yeah, like, don't hear anybody talking about this. And this is great to be having in such a big, like, in such a relatively popular book as an encyclopedia. I think it's really smart. I think it's great. I hope there's more information, or maybe similar information, or I don't know. I imagine this is very similar to what anime history is like, which is also by John Clements, one of the co-authors here. So, like, I do know that they know their shit, and never knock them for that. I don't think anyone should knock them for that. It's really interesting stuff. I can't take away much more than that, really. It's very valuable information to have in English, frankly, especially like at this point in time. Like, this is 2015, so it's not like as early as something like the first edition, which is 2001 or something. But still, it could have been. I think they started doing these in the second edition in 2006. In 2006, that's a pretty early time, all things considered. Do they have Musashi, The Dream of the Last Samurai? My absolute favorite anime documentary and a great movie all around. Let's see. Musashi, The Dream of the Last Samurai. Don't know if that's going to come up. 2 results. Yes, they do. Yes, they do have that. They have an article about that. Let's continue reading. Inspired by similar trends in the live-action TV world, anime began to favor docudramas, particularly when, in the case of Road to Munich from 1972, live-action footage was unobtainable. That makes sense. That's great. I would love more of that, honestly. The biographical vignettes of great people, which is manga ijin, which I do have a few episodes of, which is really interesting. It's very similar to manga Nippon, which it has like a different art style every episode. It's a really good Van Gogh episode because like they use Van Gogh's like style almost, and it's really interesting. Very cool looking. The biographical vignettes of manga ijin were the most obvious, but the use of anime was also a deliberate style decision in Weir manga artist's Tokiwa Villa from 1981, which told the life stories. Where to click somewhere? Which told the life stories of several of the medium's most famous creators. The period also saw the first flowerings of biographical and semi-biographical accounts of World War II. The Diary of Anne Frank made it possible for... This is for the 1979 one, not the Madhouse film. Made it possible for Japanese producers to consider productions of Barefoot Gen and Grave of the Fireflies and their many imitators. Away from such war stories, instructional works became increasingly earnest, with such dreary subjects as the story of superconductors and Batian Lai from 2008. Superconductors was from 1988, and then Batian Lai was from 2008. But also valuable below-the-line exports, such as Mina Smiles, one of the most widely... That didn't even have a date. It has an article on it, though. One of the most widely distributed anime in history. Haven't heard of it. The most widely distributed, probably because of its subject matter. They have a whole article about it. It's from 1993, Mina no Egao. It's 8 minutes. Version 1 is 8 minutes, and then version 2 is 2 20-minute episodes. Very, very, very short. It must have been like packed into something else. I'll read it some other time. Read it when we get to it, I guess. Meanwhile, animated inserts continue to appear in live-action programs, including The Man Who Created the Future from 2003, and an obscure showing for Studio Ghibli's Isao Takahata, who directed a sequence detailing watercourse operations for the story of Yanagawa Canal. I feel like I've heard of that. I feel like I remember hearing him that he did something like that. It was like around the same time as his Gouache the cellist. Yeah, I was thinking gouache because it's like, isn't that spelled a similar way? I don't know. Even the Japanese government has gotten involved with the 18-minute streaming online anime Learning About Our Metropolitan Assembly from 2002. Inevitably, the confessional nature of docudrama was also used to add a realistic thrill to erotica, such as G-Taste from 1999 and Blue Confessions from 2005. History itself often forms a problematic component of modern anime. Many anime aimed at the teen market deliberately play with the established norms that school children are sure to have picked up in class, wedging ninja or demons into the politics and battles of Japan's samurai era. Shows such as Yotoden from 1987 or Ninja Resurrection from 1997 hence have an implied audience that already know the real story and can be expected to savor the alternate readings presented for their entertainment. Unfortunately, this can often make such shows impenetrably parochial to foreign audiences, who often do not know their Nobunaga from their Ieyasu. Conversely, and that's another thing, I get it, but it's also because they themselves are teenagers to young adults that have not studied these things. You really can't hold that against them, you know? They're like, they don't know their Nobunagas from the blah blah blah, but like maybe some of them do. And maybe this all, or if anything, maybe these anime which are probably inaccurate, which is your criticism you're giving here, maybe at least some of them are giving them like something to like, oh, that's interesting. I'm gonna read up on it, and they'll actually learn their Nobunagas from their Ieyasus when they wouldn't have otherwise. You know, I don't know. I just think there's another cynical like, oh, these dumb kids. I don't know. More of like, not so hot on anime fans, kind of looking. I don't know. I get it. I get where they're coming from, but it's not necessarily a dig. But this is giving me those vibes. Conversely, many anime concerned with their 20th century history are subject to the infamous textbook problem that has been a hot potato in Japanese academic discourse since the 1960s. With right-wing lobbyists still preventing many Japanese schoolbooks from accurately discussing the events of World War II, the propagandist leanings of many wartime anime ironically persist in many anime that touch on the subject. In the case of Night Raid 1931, which they've brought up several times, I think. It's one of those that they keep mentioning. They're like, oh, fixes with history like this show. I guess they have a real bone to pick with it. Such concerns caused the more controversial episodes to be released straight to video, without a TV airing that may have otherwise hurt the feelings of fanatics, fascists, and atrocity deniers. Nice. Fair enough. That was pretty interesting. I'm happy they touched upon it. I think it, despite being fairly long, all things considered, I would have liked to hear more about that. I would have also liked if they I don't know. I get that there was something about, I just noticed that like a lot of these that they mention here are not in the encyclopedia, because there's certain like things that they didn't talk. They exclude music videos, they exclude a lot of these shorts, they exclude puppetry or any kind of like, those sorts of things. But there's a shit ton of hentai. There's a lot of porn. A lot of porn in this reading that I read. It was just so redundant. And look, I'm about to go into and like later kind of call on their shit about how everything looks this like a lot of it's very similar. But like I can understand where they're coming from, thinking that a lot of this stuff is similar when they've consumed so much of this stuff and are looking through all of it, especially the hentai. Like it all kind of bleeds together, really. But that's what happens with media, I think. I think that would happen with literally anything. Books, movies. But that doesn't, or comics, anything. That doesn't devalue it. It just means that it's a popular medium. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to say something with an F, but I didn't know what it was. It's like frequent, but I'm like, it doesn't make sense. Anyway, but I can definitely understand where they're coming from now. I think probably once I've read the entire encyclopedia, I could definitely see where they're coming from, where it's like the vast volume that they're dealing with. Of course, they're going to be treating a lot of these titles with not much care or respect, because they don't have that much to give. They really are just at full capacity with this stuff. So I can totally understand that if that's a project they're doing, Yeah. let's move on. It's a 2016 DigiPro problem. Yeah, it might be. I can understand that. Although the thing that's interesting with Trixie is that, there's a lot of databasing and knowing all of these shows, but there wasn't a lot of watching going. Like, oh, get me wrong, Trixie's seen over 1,000 anime. Like, she's seen a lot. But a lot of it was also dropped, right? There's that like, you can't watch everything, and she's talked about that you don't have time and things like that. Which is why I really appreciate her approach now of really focusing on the stuff that's really important, or like kind of the pivotal stuff, a lot of which she's seeing for the first time or rewatching with that idea in mind, with that concept of like trying to understand why it's so important and popular in mind. And I think that's a very healthy approach to take ultimately. Whereas this is like, I can imagine a lot of it just gets like, chaff or whatever. I don't know if that's the right word. Let's go to the notes. This is just the 3rd edition reading, so there's none of this stuff. Got some We're gonna dive straight into reviews, as it be. Like I said, it might be a shorter stream. That's okay. Positive reviews. Definitely more, which is good from the last time. Sheesh. D. Grayman is entertaining and enjoyable. Standout characters. Eye candy. It works. Because they're like, oh, it's all these different things, and it works. On the subject of D. Grayman, because I do want to kind of try to start consolidating some of these observations, but like that's the stuff that I have in mind and stuff, but I don't want to just like spread it back and jump back and forth. I remember one thing they said about D. Grayman, which is kind of kind of weird. Okay, I moved my D. Gray. Had this strange little thing that they mention. D. Grayman. Yeah. Look how many what did I say something before? Yeah, this is the one. Okay. Look how many much lauded hit shows of the past 4 or 5 years have failed to make it past 12 episodes. This one ran for 2 years, 103 episodes. 2 years of giving the sponsors the returns they wanted, of doing exactly what TV anime should. Entertaining an audience enough that they turn on the TV every week and watch the ads laced around your show. That's success. Many critics and scholars talk about anime's unrealistic cost base and unsustainable business model. But if more studios could do shows with 103 episodes worth of audience's appeal, the anime industry would have fewer survival problems. This is really interesting. I don't know what they mean by the anime industry would have fewer survival problems. Do they mean less turnover with like their staff? That's certainly an issue now with how many productions are, burning some staff out, but I'm not quite sure what they mean by that. So it's mixed for me. On the one hand, I really like this approach of championing these long shows and giving them the credit they deserve, because it is a really tough order to do that many episodes. It's a success. It's really impressive. And it's like, you should give them credit for that. And I agree that like people might see a long show like Dragon Ball and be like, oh, it's too many episodes, or oh, this show's too many even just on a fan perspective, something that has too many episodes makes it like there must be something wrong with it, right? But no, it's actually a pretty good sign of success, all things considered, and impressive. On the other hand, there's two weird things. The first thing is it's annoying that they give that credit to this show, but what we've been seeing over the course of the reading so far is that they don't watch a lot of these long shows, and they're dismissing them. or they're not really talking about them that much, even though they might be really important. We were just joking. I was just rewatching the stream last week where we were talking about Touch, and we were like, did they even watch the whole show? We don't even know. I know, oh, it's 100 episodes, so, you know, I'll just read about it and tell you everything that happens, you know? I don't know. But, like, but you're going to give credit to this show? Because you liked it? Like, you were really positive about it? I don't get it. Let me read some comments. Credit to long shows and credit to short shows. Love them all. Yeah, honestly. Deadman is a Shonen Jump manga adaptation. Of course more sponsors would be supporting it compared to a more niche title. Also, hi. Yeah, good seeing you, Full Wind Man. I think it's more people worry about the long-term industry sustainability. The thing is, the situation between now and the 80s, it's very different, so it isn't necessarily comparable. Yeah, no, I agree it's not comparable. But also, the other thing that was weird to me was that considering that the show, saying that your show failed because it only went for 12 episodes is hilarious in today's context. But it's even weird. It's even weirder that they said this as of at least 2015. Because here's the thing. They probably wrote this in 2006 when the second edition came out. The second edition includes Deadman because it came out in 2006. But you know what? Maybe it's close. Maybe this didn't come out. Maybe this was in the third edition as a new entry. It could have easily been because it started in 2006 and it didn't go for 103 episodes. So you know what? It probably was as of this third edition. 2015. I'm pretty sure this trend of anime lasting usually 12 episodes was a trend at least since 2015. Are you saying the majority of those shows were failures? Tatami Galaxy? Ping Pong? Like Kimonozume? Like the majority of like... Wait a minute. I think all of his work of Masaki Yuasa? Is there any TV anime he's behind that have more than fucking one core of episodes? I don't think so. Are you calling all of those shows failures because they're fucking 12 episodes or less? Like, what does that mean? You can have different metrics of success. There's shows that they're only making, like, there's some fucking hentai or OVAs that they're only looking for this amount of success. They're not looking for fucking Naruto success because that's not the platform that it's going for. It's not going for this big long-running TV show or something. But if it gets like the amount of sales to get its cost back and maybe even a little more, that's a success, right? But like, does length equal success? No, it doesn't. It just doesn't. And obviously they'd be like, no, yeah, my point was XYZ. But that's what it's coming off to here. Let me read it again. Look how many much lauded hit shows of the past 4 or 5 years. And they're specifying. They're specifying these shows that I'm just talking about have failed to make it past 12 episodes. What if they weren't intending to? The fact that like Bones' model, for example, Bones' model is not to make 2 cores anymore. Their goal now is to make a core and then wait a year and then do another core. That's not a failure. That's a different approach. So weird. I think you can have long shows these days, but it isn't necessarily desirable. Maybe one of the authors likes long shows and the other doesn't. I don't know. Versus having shorting seasons. Yeah, it hasn't felt like they've watched many shows that have more than a few episodes. It's much harder to retain viewership with long runners in the streaming age, unless the property is huge like Dragon Ball, over shorter seasonal shows. Like, for example, a modern long-running anime adaptation tends to come out 1 or 2 per season, like Hero. Yeah, it's just the approach nowadays, right? And they're gonna call all those shows failures? It's just strange. I don't know. That was just a really weird take to me. Interesting. Because like I do make the similar argument with Naruto. Spoilers for my upcoming Naruto video. A little bit. I say a lot in that video, so it's not really spoilers. But one of the points I'm making is that this show, it's kind of one of the things I like hitting on, like really specifically, is this show is a miracle. the fact that Naruto exists, that it's a 720 episode show that has that adapted a complete 72 volume story is really rare. It's really rare. I don't know how many people that have done, like, there's long shows, but like, how much is Conan really an adaptation, you know, or Shin-Chan really an adaptation? It's just taking the characters, right? Again, maybe I'm talking out my ass, but like, that's what it seems like to me. Whereas Naruto is telling this entire narrative, and then you'd be like, yeah, One Piece. One Piece isn't done yet. Once it's done, then yes, it is also. But Naruto's are like, and then you'd be like, oh, but Boruto. No, but Boruto is his own. It's a sequel. It's a very deliberate, like, different sequel. Naruto is a whole 72 volume manga, and it was adapted into an anime. Consistently. It didn't take any break. Like, Bleach will get there. Like, Bleach is gonna get it, which is awesome. I'm happy for Bleach. But like, and then also Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball is also a good miracle, you know? But like 720 episodes. I think Dragon Ball is like 400 or something, which is great. It's really impressive. You know what I mean? But it's just like something to be celebrated. It really is something to be like, wow, that's incredible. That's awesome. At least in my opinion. And then you could be like, oh, 40% filler. I'll talk about filler. I'll give you a damn filler. Anyway, sorry to take on such a tangent, as these streams tend to do. Daitarn 3 they were very positive about. Surprising, because they didn't include it until this edition. It wasn't in the first edition for some reason. I don't know why. It's a fascinating minor work by a sci-fi master whose main strength has been making the robots as sexy as possible, then making the people matter more. Which is a nice sentiment to give to Tomino, but it's a little confusing too. It's like sci-fi master whose main strength has been making the robots as sexy as possible. Ideon, Daitarn 3, like that robot. It's kind of cool looking. I'm not watching Daitarn for the robot. I like Elgheim's robot, but I'm definitely not watching it for that. In fact, I'm actually kind of interested in the fact that, like, it seems like such an afterthought. It seems so secondary. Elgheim, the main robot, he gets its good moment. It has its good moments where it's like, oh, he's trying to leap up to this spaceship but he doesn't fly. So it's just like trying to leap really high to grab onto this spaceship at the last second or whatever. That was cool, and I like some of the aspects about it. But it's not the thing I'm going to for. But like Ideon, I guess Gundam because it's really iconic. But like, what do you mean making the robots as sexy as possible? What does that mean? And then making the people matter more, which is great. Yeah, this one's about the characters. But they were really positive about Daitarn 3. I'll mention though while I'm here, as I do. Spoilers for Daitarn fucking 3 for some reason. They gave away the ending. They gave away the little twist at the end. They even described the final shot in incredibly blistering detail. I don't know why. It's annoying. I wanted to experience that. Now I have to have you describe it to me and I mean, I get it. You're gushing about a cool show and stuff, and I like that, but this just isn't the place for it, you know? I just didn't think it's the place for it. Reading the chat. Now that I think about it, most adaptations really don't end. No! No, they don't. Nope. And it's sort of something I'm going to talk about in my Slam Dunk, one of my Slam Dunk follow-up videos. Does it really deserve a complete adaptation? Your favorite manga? Does it really, I don't know, that's not what a lot of these anime are for, unfortunately. Fist of the North Star almost got there, but the anime ended before the last very short arc. Of course it did! Yeah, of course it did. Literally the majority of them. Literally the majority. Maybe Rurouni Kenshin will get, I don't know what they're doing with this new one. People were thinking it might be the spin-off that they're adapting. I don't know. We'll see. Are they implying that unlike other mecha, it's about the characters matter in Tomino anime? Yeah, basically. I think I'm gonna watch Zabungle soon. Heck yeah, Zabungle's good. Anyway, positive opinions. Darker Than Black, they were positive about. I was surprised. Not that I've seen it. I don't know. Doesn't seem like a show they would like. Score works beautiful, done well, entertaining and thought-provoking. They even liked season 2. I know a lot of people that don't like season 2, but they were like, season 2 was tighter. Left a couple more plot threads, blah blah. Polished piece of entertainment. Cool. I enjoy. That's great. Daybreak Illusion, they were positive about. It's a dark and thoughtful perspective on the humanity of foes, all too often written off as simple threats to be removed. On the humanity of foes, all too often written off as simple threats to be removed. And then I'm like, wait a minute. Isn't that just what Precure does? Like, the majority of the time? I don't know if every time. I've not seen every Precure. I've only seen one. But, like, isn't that, like, a mainstay of Precure? Is that the bad guy is like, somebody who they, whatever. And then, like, there's also a redeeming of the bad guy. Or purification of them, right? Like, how is that subversive? Because they were like, Daybreak Illusion's like Madoka Magica. I'm like, huh? Like, I guess. I haven't seen it, so sure. That makes it sound interesting, I guess. All right. Day I Bought a Star, which is a Miyazaki short that I don't know if you can watch it. I think it's one of those ones that are just trapped at the Ghibli Museum. Lovely parable of how small can be powerful. This is like Jack and the Beanstalk, but instead of planting a beanstalk, it grows a whole planet. Pretty cool. Deadman Wonderland. This is interesting. I need to go back to this one because Deadman Wonderland. Think of alphabetically. What would be before Deadman Wonderland in this encyclopedia? Think about it. And then why would I be interested? You know? Death Note they were positive about. Melodrama in the best sense and its decent presentation. I think it has better presentation than what they were talking about. Like, direction, Tetsuro Araki direction? That music by the guy I should know his name, but he's the composer for Death Note and Kaiji that got caught with weed and is blacklisted from the industry. Lovely. Yeah, no. Darker Than Black was my favorite anime in middle school, but I haven't seen it since. Fun fact, Fist of North Star Ken's Rage 2 is the only media to actually adapt the last arc. Great. I watched the first 7 episodes of Darker Than Black like forever ago. We'll get to them one day. Dead Leaves? Yes. Correct. Leave. No, it is. You got that right the first time. Dead Leaves. I'm pretty sure they don't misspell it as leafs. It's leaves. Yep. Dead Leaves. And then Deadman Wonderland. And what a contrast. What an interesting contrast. I'm probably gonna read both articles like back to back for you guys. Because that's like, are you kidding? Demon Prince Enma. Solid entertaining package. Cool. Deno Coil. I figured they liked this one. Although they were a little, they weren't as like completely like loving, warm as I thought they'd be, but they were positive. Seems like a simple slice of life develops into something more complex and compelling. The art is deceptively simple and well integrated. Well integrated with like the CG elements. Yeah, which is true. Destined for Love. It's a hentai. The sex is non-violent and consensual, and the design and art are reasonably attractive. Obviously, the design and art reasonably attractive is the opinion, but I wanted to put the sex is non-violent and consensual because clearly they're putting that in to let you know that, oh, this is actually a good thing. Usually don't specify that sort of thing. And the Detroit Metal City they were positive about. Thank God. Nasty funny show may only have one gag, but it's riffed superbly. Style in harmony and like the aesthetic. Intelligent underpinning with the how the main character is like sweet on the surface, but he actually kind of, you can see that like the darkness that he brings out with Krauser II, it is him, and he does have that darkness as well. And seeing that emerge is really interesting, and yeah, it's really funny. I like that show a lot. Do I have it as a great or good on Kitsu. Detroit Metro City. DMC. Yeah, great. Yeah, I love that show. Negative. A lot more negatives. Defrag. But really, hasn't this all been done before, over and over again? That's all they say about it. They give you the synopsis, and then, really, hasn't this all been done before, over and over? It's like, the thing is, right? They're not really playing into their point of how anime isn't just Pokemon, hentai, and blah blah blah. You know, there is more to it than the stuff that's on the surface that everyone kind of thinks it is. And I love that message, but then this does not help your message. Really, hasn't all this been done before, over and over again? Sure, maybe it has. I haven't seen Defrag. Maybe it has. But, like, that's... The audience wants that, you know? And it's like, oh, what the audience wants and stuff. But, like, I don't know. But also, Defrag can just have its own unique things. You just have to look closely at the thing. But when you are observing the vast majority of media, I do think you become like these guys and you get very media poisoned. Where it's like, oh, it's trope. Ugh, I don't want to see that. I want to see something new. Right? What? Who cares? Do you need to see something new? That's fine. Like, revel in the differences. You know, there are differences, or maybe there aren't. But then that's objectively untrue unless they're the same anime. And you know, people are like, oh, it's the same show. I love like I think we can all agree one of Trixie's best videos with the Asterisk War Sucks. Probably the best part of that show is how she took two shows that everybody, even the people on Anime News Network, were saying are the same show. They're like, it's literally the same fucking show. But then you see it not just in like in the ratings, but just looking at the show critically, the two shows, they are similar, but they're vastly different in quality. One of them's really not good, very, very aggressively mediocre to bad, but the other one is pretty good, interesting. And it's all about these little differences. If you just kind of toss all of it into this bin of like, oh, it's all the same, you miss that nuance. And I just don't want to treat media like that, you know? That's just my perspective on that. Because that's just disappointing that, like, it seems that their mission statement is being undermined by stuff like this, which I think there's more of this sort of sentiment of like, ugh, same old. So what is it? So far, so Wicked City. That's about something. I forget what show it was. Stuff like that, you know. I mean, the director of Fully Cooley also co-directed Eniveva, so it's not really that far-fetched. I saw Detroit DMC recently. Hard to believe it's the same director as Musashi. Yeah. Well, that's what's interesting, right? I mean, the thing is, it's not the same creator, technically. Because both DMC and Musashi, I'm pretty sure, are both manga. And it's just the director it's just showing the versatility of the director, which is great. I'm pretty sure DMC is a manga. I'm just double checking. Yep, it's a manga series, yeah. So yeah, of course. I love Felix Julian and Eniveva. Danganronpa. Of course they didn't like it, it's fine. Squanders much of its promise by playing out as if you were watching someone else play the game. This is like a lot more telling than showing, and like you don't get to see all the clues and stuff like that. And it's definitely because they could only fit the entire game into 13 episodes. I do think if they had like 26 or 39 episodes, they could have probably adapted it a lot more interestingly. Oh well. Dark Future. Promising material wasted on cheap porn. Yeah. Dark Knight Ingrid. Attempts a plot. Design is an eclectic mess. It's like there's a bunch of spandex or whatever. Thwarted by requiring to fit in rape, torture, and humiliation. Yeah, oh well. Dark Rabbit has 7 lives. Despite twist, premise, and pretty art, it's bland and forgettable. Yep. Data Life. Fair. I guess. Same old harem and dating tropes. Regards women as a sort of natural disaster. Won't someone save them with a big kiss? let me read their thing on Data Live. Actually, it's pretty funny. Date dot 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 dot. And yet, season 3, baby. Dat live. Come on. QRST. Where the heck is it? Ugh. Date Allah. 11 results. Date alive. And so we're back to the same old harem and dating tropes in a show that regards women as a sort of natural disaster that can only be contained and controlled through their voluntary acquiescence of 99% of their power to a loving man. Poor little things. Won't someone save them with a big kiss? Based on the series of books by Koshi Tachibana. You know, it's funny, I looked through, just to refresh, I don't do this with most of the entries. I did look through the images just to refresh and give a picture. And there's a lot of characters I actually recognize, because like a lot of people use them for profile pics and things like that. I feel like they're looking at the premise and judging it on the premise. They're like, oh, they're like literally, because like they tell you the premise where like gateway to our world, whose energies are released when they stagger uncomprehending through the gateway into our own world. Thankfully for humanity, ordinary Japanese teenager Shido Itsuka discovers an ability to remove the dangerous powers of these spirits, but only if he can persuade them to fall in love with him. And so we're back to the... It feels like they just read the premise. I've not seen Date Alive. I'm not, you know, for all I know, this is probably completely accurate. Wait, are the girls at Date Alive personified natural disasters? Is that a turn of the phrase? So, according to the premise that they give, and I have not cross-referenced this because I don't do this with this encyclopedia. I'm not trying to correct them. Like, unless I know offhand, unless I've seen the show and I know they're wrong, then that's one thing. But, like, I'm not, like, double-checking everything on this. But their wording says, the earth-shattering space quakes that devastated Central Asia and continues to rock the world for the next 30 years are revealed to be the inadvertent psychic backlashes of pretty little girls from a parallel universe, whose energies are released when they stagger, uncomprehending through the gateway into our own world. So I guess that's how they come into the world, and then the idea is that he's able to remove the dangerous powers of the spirits if he can make them a part of his harem. I guess that's the idea. So that's why. Also, hello Hazel. It's good seeing you. They are almost that. Day Alive is kind of a combination of The World God Only Knows and Evangelion. quite the killer combo you got there, Victor. Sheesh. I've seen like 1300 anime and I'm so glad I'm not media poisoned. I recognize tropes and whatnot, but I don't care. That's the idea. You don't care. You either don't care or you embrace it and you're like, oh, I know this trope. Oh, I've seen this before. Because like it's supposed to give you this. The reason they're using tropes and the reason this stuff seems the same is to give you the same illicit response. That's the whole reason they're doing these tropes. We want to see more mecha series because we like what the old mecha series would give us. That sense of excitement. The unique, like, what makes mecha interesting? What makes romance interesting? What makes any genre? That's why we have genres, you know? And so it's like, I hate when people are like, oh, Black Clover, I want to be the Wizard King. Oh, we've seen it before. Who cares? Jesus Christ! Why? And also, like, that's actually not as widespread of a trope as you would expect. Which I'll talk, it's a 9-hour trope video. Try not to give the whole thing away. Fula Kuzma top 5 and Nave is at the top 10. Yeah, so I mean, I didn't like Date Alive. Surprise, surprise. But I just love that. Can't someone save them for the big kiss? Does he ever like a big kiss any of them? Maybe. Maybe that's why people like it. Because it's like, that's kind of rare to see MC kiss the girl. Knowing other media is supposed to enhance your experience by understanding its relation to other works, not poison it. I know. You're right. Like, what if that's the point? Damn it, Bobby. Especially with meta parody works like, for example, Date Alive. Oh, interesting. I didn't know it was a parody. That's interesting. They probably, I probably have no idea because they never saw it. Probably not. Anyway, Dead Leaves. So let's read their entry on Dead Leaves. In the near future, the only humans left on Earth are clones. Retro, who is incredibly strong and has a TV for a head, and Pandy, who has a pink panda-like birthmark over her right eye, wake up in a field with no memory of how they got there. They steal some clothes, food, and a car, but the local cops object. There's a shootout, and the pair are thrown in a prison on the moon. The penal colony is known as Dead Leaves, and the jailers can abuse and kill inmates at will. Retro and Pandy form a strange relationship with their jailer, Galactica, and meet other inmates, including Dino Drill, who has a gigantic drill where his genitals should be, leading to some messy battles with the prison guards. But Retro and Pandy aren't incarcerated for long, as having sex mysteriously sets them free to lead a bullet-laden rebellion against a wicked warden. After several years of being told by fandom that it was misinterpreting the Japanese animation abroad, Manga Entertainment had the last laugh by co-producing this puerile and often incoherent cartoon. Puerile, if you don't know the dictionary definition, is childish, and often coherent cartoon. It qualifies as anime, but its visual style and general outlook often makes it look more like one of the false friends compared to Kill Bill: The Origin of O-Ren, which was similarly a Japanese production made to meet parameters defined by Western demands. With a frenetic pace and often plays like a sense of disconnected shorts along the lines of Aeon Flux or Blam, Dead Leaves is also senselessly violent and obsessed with bodily functions. Ironically, it becomes a symbol of the maturity of the anime business. Maturity is in italics, that's why I said that. In a symbol of the maturity of the anime business. In an environment that now supported the works of Studio Ghibli on American release, the company associated with the old sex and violence titles was now obliged to make them itself in order to meet its own requirements. Once relocated as a subsidiary of Anchor Bay, Manga Entertainment sensibly revisited past glories and threw itself into the sequel of Ghost in the Shell, a far better way of celebrating its achievements than this odious hour-long fight sequence. Nice. Let me read the next entry, Deadman Wonderland. Teenager Ganta Igarashi has been framed and sentenced to death after being found with his entire school class dead around him. Nobody believes his story or looks for the real culprit. Instead, he's sent to a new privately owned and operated prison, where the prisoners take part in gladiatorial combat to amuse paying customers, compared to Story of Riki. If his performance doesn't attract enough audience money, he'll be killed. But things could get worse, because there's another level of savage depravity below the prison, an exclusive club for the truly sick and seriously rich. To prove his innocence and avenge his friends, to take down their true killer, the Red Man, Ganta has to survive it. This brutally breathtaking anime is, as it says on some of the promotional material, carnage. No explanation except for a few flashbacks, no rationale, minimal attempts at justification, just relentless and unapologetic visceral action. And it's magnificent. Yes, it has its flaws in character and plot, but that isn't what it's about. It does exactly what it promises, and does it with technical excellence and gusto, not seen in exploitation anime since Violence Jack. If you want complete and total abandon, this is it. Watch it with a beer and a curry if you risk losing the curry. Unfortunately, however, this series currently only animates the early part of the manga and leaves much of the story untold. So the first question is, were these written by different people? Probably, but I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't. It's not like I'm used to them being contrary or hyper. I'm not trying to look for them to be hypocrites or something. But, like, reading those back to back is ridiculous. Reading through Deadman Wonderland, I'm like, you could say
the exact same for Dead Leaves, but it would act. But like, at least in my opinion, this is. I don't want to put my opinion in this. I think Dead Leaves much better characterizes what they just said. It's carnage, relentless and unapologetic visceral action, and it's magnificent. It has flaws in character and plot, but that isn't what it's about. Does exactly what it promises, does it with technical excellence and gusto, not seen in exploitation anime since Violence Jack? Which, like, did anybody like Violence Jack? I thought even the fucking creator hated Violence Jack. I don't know anybody who likes the anime. Nothing, like, people really like the manga, but apparently not even the creator was happy with the result of the anime, which is just, like, very soulless and vapid and mean or whatever. This is what I've heard of. I've not seen Violence Jack. I've seen Deadman Wonderland. I can respect them having an opinion about that. I disagree with the opinion, but, like, the fact that Deadman Wonderland worked for them, but Dead Leaves doesn't, I'm pretty sure that the only reason that they have this opinion about Dead Leaves is that it was co-produced by Manga Entertainment, which, if I'm not mistaken, they've both worked for. Like, they were working for this company, and they were like, I don't know why you should do that. You know, making this, co-producing this anime thing. I mean, who's it directed by? This guy, Hiroyuki Imaishi? What? Let me read the comments. I agree that tropes are bad. Sorry. I like when I notice tropes because it lets me track the lineage and evolution of different styles. Exactly. I like to track influences personally. I'm learning more new words than anime from this book. I know. I agree that tropes aren't bad, but I think there's also a thing where the more familiar with genre, the more you more easily identify works that are unexceptional examples of genre. Yeah, sure. This cannot be from the same author. I know. It's weird how they act like Dead Leaves is super divorced from common anime styles when it's heavily inspired by Kaneda, who's an incredibly influential figure. Yeah, they don't know that. We went on last stream reading the birth article, and they don't mention Kaneda a single time. Let me look up Kaneda in the encyclopedia. Yoshinori Kaneda, they do have an article about him. They do, you know how like they give like separate or like industry figure articles? They do have an article about Yoshinori Kaneda. So they know who he is. I don't know. Listening to their takes on Dead Leaves and Deadman Wonderland side by side is a serious... I know! It's like... Are you kidding me? Wait, am I blanking? Are they actually having a positive take on Deadman Wonderland? Yeah, no. It's a very, very glowing positive take on Deadman Wonderland. This book makes me dizzy. It's the first time I've ever heard anyone liking the Violence Jack anime. Yeah, me too. I wonder what their opinion on Violence Jack is, but I'm not gonna hop around right now. Gona Guy despises the Violence Jack anime. It's why we haven't had new MT. You said that last time, Vilman. Yeah, I thought it was universally hated. Was Dead Leaves written in 2006? It was 04. Dead Leaves was 04. Anime critics in 06 were shitting on their pants over violent OVAs at the time. It was 04, so it's before 06, so you're right. Because they were insecure at anime's perception by the public. That anime's perception by the public is exactly what they're trying to dissuade in 2001. In this first edition. People were like, oh, it's nothing but violence, Pokemon, and porn. And they're like, no, it's more than that. Japanese animation started in the early years of the last century and is sustained by the largest animation industry in the world, with strong links to its Asian, European, and American counterparts. Despite the worldwide commercial success of Pokemon, many critics still judge anime on the basis of the violent and pornographic titles widely promoted by Western distribution. We have always argued for a broader perspective. Our aim in this book is to show the diversity of anime production in its cultural context and to indicate some of the main trends and creative influences. They know. That's been a thing since 2001. 90s. When they were starting to actually put this stuff out. What the heck? You know what I mean? It's bizarre. Anyway, dwelled long enough on that. Yeah, strange. Demon Fighter Kocho, they were negative about. One-shot ripoff of Devil Hunter Yoko. Okay. Demon Lord Dante, more like a poor man's Urutsuki Doji. You know what I mean? Isn't it annoying how much they fucking compare shit all the time? All the time. Oh my god. Then the groundbreaking work it would have been had it been adapted in 1971, because it's a manga series from 1971 by Go Nagai. This is the one that, like, they say in this article, and I remember that Full Windman corrected this when I was reading the Devilman article. They said in the Devilman one that Go Nagai wanted to do they were like, can we do the producers were like, can we do Demon Lord Dante? And he's like, no, do Devilman here. And then Full Windman saying that no, he wanted them to do here's Demon Lord Dante. And I'm like, can you make something else? Can you make something else for us instead? It's like, all right, here's Devilman. No, Devilman. You know. But they say that in Demon Lord Dante here. Let me just double check. Based on a 1971 manga in Bokura Weekly by Go Nagai, Demon Lord Dante was forever eclipsed by the artist's decision not to sell it to a TV company for adaptation, but instead offer them his similar Devilman. And then the 2002 anime is just a poor man's Urutsuki Doji, even though it's based on material that's way older. Okay. How I see it, they probably thought the Deadlies was reinforcing a perception of anime they didn't like. Probably. It does seem that a lot of their ire is coming from manga entertainment, specifically leaning, giving money to this sort of thing. That seems to where a lot of their ire is coming from. But they're completely ignoring the artistry behind it. That's, like, actually really impressive. It's a really fun OVA. By the third edition, that perception wasn't the thing, so they didn't care anymore. But that's the thing. I mean, I can already give you the kind of the consensus, I guess, even as of halfway through D. They only do minor revisions. There are a couple articles that I'll take note of that are completely rewritten, like Angel's Egg, that are completely updated. They're like, okay, we fucked up on that. Let's do that better. But the vast majority of their writing, they stand by from the first edition, and probably from the second edition too. Again, I'm not looking at the second edition too much. Although I'll try not to make that assumption too much. I'm like, as at least comparing the first and the third, with the exception of a couple articles, like these ones, there are only very, very minor revisions. So, like, they are literally standing by the stuff that they had in 2001, and they're putting in this one as well. Anyway. I like how this is basically Funimation Crunchyroll co-production Boogeyman, but 20 years ago. Yeah, no, literally. Demon Bane, they were negative about, leaves you wishing you'd stuck with something plainer. Not especially interesting, stereotypes, jailbait. Okay. Devil May Cry, it's poorly paced and unsubtle script with ham-fisted direction and editing. Relies heavily on still frames and static pans. Dinosaur King, I thought they were negative about. This show doesn't do anything that Pokemon and Digimon didn't do long before it. Look, fellas, it's been a little while since I've seen Dinosaur King. Like, a long time. I remember catching it when I was a kid they were running it on Toonzai and the 4Kids block and things like that. Yeah, they're collecting some dinosaurs, and it's like, they're fighting with the monster and things, but, like, I'm pretty sure it does a lot different stuff than Pokemon and Digimon. Like, it's kind of, like, I know for a fact that they consider Pokemon and Digimon two different things, because they know that there's very interesting, clear differences between the two and their approaches. Dinosaur King is doing neither of those approaches, to my knowledge. In fact, like, the fact that Dinosaur King is based on, like, is on real dinosaurs, and not made up creatures, but they're just taking the aesthetic of a, having a companion and things like that. I don't know. annoying to say, but still I consider it a negative thing. Mixed opinions, a couple. Yet another cookie cutter harem from Da Capo, fairy tale quality to high school drama. It's hard to tell if it's cynical or heartfelt. They were like, there's an interesting thing about this this particular show, but they weren't like super negative about it. Dance in the Vampire Bund, animation good, designs varied, promising ideas with it's a conventional harem show. You know, they weren't really so into. They were also criticizing the vampire elements, of course, because they have a quote later that I'm like, okay, I appreciate that. Of like, there's no good vampire stories besides Dracula, basically. I do have the exact quote later. Dante's Inferno, varied animation by different studios, ranges from excellent to awful. I guess it's like a kind of an anthology of sorts, and then different parts of the movie are animated by different studios very clearly, and the first one's apparently really, really bad, and then they have this Manglobe one that's actually really good, and so it's very up and down. Daphne and the Brilliant Blue, underwater setting for reasons more to do with falling costs of CG water. You know, this was more of a negative review, because they just seemed like kind of about it. I don't know. Whatever. I'll put a mixed. Demon King Daimo. There's little that's original. There's uneven animation. It's overall decent. Okay. And Devil Dad. This is funny. Designs and artwork are attractive, which makes the content all the more depressing. Because, yeah, the synopsis is really skeezy and... Ugh. But, yeah, fair. If it's cookie cutter, why did they make 5 more seasons of it? Of Da Capo? I don't know. It's a success! What can you say? This one ran for 2 years. It's a success. Okay. Spoilers, yeah, for Daiton 3, as well as Daphne and Brilliant Blue. They do summarize a lot of the plot, and it's like, okay, I get it. You did watch all of it, or you read a lot of it, of like, oh, what happens in this show, describing each episode and shit. It's like, okay, weird. And Hour 14, pretty good, considering a lot of that was audio issues. It's been good so far. Some odd choices that I thought. There was nothing that stood out to me as like a good one, or titles I'm interested in this time. So at least that means now I can actually look some of these up, because I ran out of time last time. I will probably do that. I'll probably do that after these odd choices. I'll probably forget. Let's do those right now, because I'm gonna forget. Let's go to that one first. Maybe it's not good that I'm looking at... Oh, there it is. Aw. That's adorable. Miyu is an 8th grade girl whose parents have been hired by NASA. They take off to America, leaving Miyu and Mr. Saionji. Later, Mr. Saionji decides to go on a 1-year-long trip to India, leaving Miyu alone with his son Kanata. More complications rise when an alien baby and his babysitter crash lands into their home. To make things worse, alien baby starts calling Miyu and Kanata mom and dad, also showing ESP powers and floating around. Yeah, that's right. I remember that it was like an ESP baby. They made it sound to be pretty cute. And surprise, surprise, it does look very cute. Although I am a little, you know, it's kind of crazy. Oh my gosh, 78 episodes. It's from 2000 to 2002. But this art does not. I mean, maybe like this looks like it's from 2000 to 2002, but like this looks 90s to me, like very 90s. I don't know. That looked really cute. I'm interested. Let me put the chat on the side. Chat on the side. Oh geez, did my it doesn't matter really. Should be fine. Okay, my mic is going. I thought it wasn't for a second. American and Japanese animation studios have always made co-productions since like Frosty. It's nothing new. Oh yeah, I know. That's on my plan to watch list. Heck yeah. Dark Cat. I don't know how many of these are like hentai or something. Oh, that looks okay. Okay. Holy shit! Woo, boy! Da is a Hiroaki Sakurai. I don't know who that is, Victor. Let's Google search Hiroaki Sakurai. Oh, this guy. Sakike. No way. Oh, Maid-sama? Dang. Joke, though. Sort by title. Thank you. I'm liking this. The work on Asuka-chan. Nice. Nice. Digi Carrot? Digi Carrot? Ooh. Cool guy. Cool guy. Jewel Pet. I see, of course. Yeah, Kaichuan made some I've heard very good things about. Of course, he's like a real big on Kodacha. Damn. Yukil Dreamy. I've not heard very much of that one. Nice. Oh, 11? Which one is that? I think that's the... I think it's the Valentine's one. That's cute. 10 for... Oh, I think this is the fucking... Oh, if that's... Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Is that the, Honey's... Why doesn't this have a fucking episode guide? Hey! Hey, episodes. What is that? A Day in the... Oh, okay. I thought it was Honey's 3 Bitter Days. That's like my favorite episode of Oron. Oh, I've watched this for some reason. That was cute. I like that. Yeah, okay, wow. No way! Wow. That's surprising. Oh, this dude. Oh, this dude. Wow, a lot of things are clicking for me. Thank you, Victor. Those are usually very good. Yeah, for real. And again, my OEGA is 5.51, and that show's great. Yeah, okay. Hyoi and Roy, two brothers with the power to take the form of cats, must unravel the mystery of a creeping tentacle demon plague before it consumes them and their classmates. Ultimately, they must confront the old dark cat master, though they put an end to the evil erased industry. It producers action, horror, supernatural, so it's not a... I want to look at their... What was their review? Not their review, their article on it that made me want to check it out. Human beings carry a seed of evil within them that demonic creatures wish to nurture and exploit. Other paranormal beings, the dark cats, seek to protect humanity from its own heritage. Two such feline angels are Hyoi and Roy, who are spying on strange events in a Japanese school. Hyoi has transmuted into human form, while Ryoi has invited himself in cat form into the life of female student Ayumi. As the evil spirit Jukubo possesses the teacher and turns them to violence, Hyoi and Ryoi must protect their charges with the aid of their magical dark cat sword. Based on a manga serialized in Halloween, the Dark Cat crashes the Pretty Boys of Girls manga such as Tokyo Babylon with the tits and tentacles ghost busting of innumerable horror anime like Wicked City. I think that was what made me interested in this show, in this OVA, because the idea of like a bishonen of girls manga like Tokyo Babylon, like I was picturing something like X or something like that, like very aesthetically pleasing designs, and then with like kind of the horror hardcore stuff of Wicked City. But like, I would not say these are, I don't know. Seems, I don't know if I like, I don't know. 91? You know, I think Core may have talked about this in his series. That's funny. Yeah, but like, you know what? It's like those are not very good. Very generous of the Encyclopedia to call it like, oh, it's like the pretty boys and girls manga such as Tokyo Babylon. Okay. What else is there? Dark Myth. That one might have been a hentai. Let's see. Myth. Oh yeah, thanks. Thanks. Ugh, I have to look up the Japanese. Oh great. It's in Japanese. Ankoko Shinwa. probably that. I don't think that's Nope, that looks fine. I just dragged it into a different tab. Not well, it's called Guardian of Darkness. Okay. Oh no, this isn't it. No, this isn't it. 3 episode, 50-minute 2. Yeah, this isn't it. Sorry, hold on. Ankoku Shinwa. There we go. Oh yeah, this is the one we talked about last time. I remember this. We've mentioned this before. Yeah, I just thought it was interesting what it was described. Dark Knight's drama. Doubt this is gonna show up. Gonna have to do. Dark Knights. Dark Knight's dry. Yamiyo. So I'm not looking at the chat. No. Jidaigeki. Okay. Huh. 4 Tales. Oh, this is why I. Okay. This was why I was interested. They only oh. This was why I was interested, guys. The Encyclopedia lists it as an anthology with Takashi Imanishi, which is that guy right there. I've not heard of this guy before. But it also has Yoshiyuki Tomino and Ryosuke Takahashi. It does have also a script by Yoshiyuki Tomino as well. So this is also a Tomino anime. This thing right here. 4 tales of old-time horror in the anthology spirit of Pet Shop of Horrors and Cockpit from directors best known for their giant robot shows. Tales include The Hill of Old Age, which tells of a conspiracy hatched against Japan's unifier, Nobunaga Oda, seeing the truth about the assassin sent to murder Nobunaga's successor, Ieyasu Tokugawa, a wandering swordsman saving a damsel in distress from evil spirits in the era of Jinsuke, while the final chapter, Prince from the Fall of the Bakufu, features a tomboy from a woodcut works charged with making a print of the young warrior Okita Soji, broadcast as part of the Neo Hyper Kids program. So I'm like, oh, interesting. And this fucking thing, look at that. Holy shit. Have you heard of this, Victor? Let's see then again, my Dark Cat is just a typical low budget OVA. Only reason Mal rating is so low is because of the bad dub. Dark Cat manga might be good, but the anime is just disappointing. Funny dub. It was there in search results. Sorry. Good old fashioned Mal search bar, only occasionally functional. Mal seems to think that no one wants to look up an anime made earlier than 10 years ago. Dude, I've been looking for like 2 years Dark Knight's drama for years, and I simply can't find it anywhere. Damn. Annoying. Also, wait a minute. Mal lists it with 2 episodes. But the Encyclopedia lists it with 15-minute, 4 episodes of 15 minutes. Suspicious. Great. Life of the fan that I'm at, fucking iceberg level. Dark Knight's Drama. Devil and the Princess. That's probably not it. It could be one of those, but I don't know the name of it. What is the name of the fuck? Devil and the Devil and the Princess. Akuma to Hinemigami. Okay. Akuma to Himegimi. Oh, yeah. I'm definitely going to find that. Ryosuke Takahashi's directorial debut. God damn. No way. I didn't even know that, I don't think. No, it was. I did know that. It was also the directorial debut for Votoms director Takahashi, according to the Encyclopedia. Shown in a double bill with Door into Summer, Natsue ni Tobira, which is a really good movie. This adaptation of a weird Beauty and the Beast fairy tale by Banana Fish's Akime Yoshida. This is also by the author of Banana Fish. 18-year-old Princess Tamaru Castle has a beauty famed far and wide, but a less attractive penchant for daytime drinking. Despite this, she has plenty of suitors, including a devil wearing a cunning disguise. One day, the princess meets Snow White at her tea house in the forest, and while the girls get acquainted, the devil kidnaps them both. Interesting. And of course, you know, probably another thing nobody can find. Oh, it's a sequel listed. I see. Thank you, Panda Man, for Dark Knight's drama. Maybe they compiled the episodes. I don't know why Malgus is 2 series. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, Akamoto Himigimi, that's interesting. I wonder if you could just YouTube it? Doubt it. Doubtful. But let's give it the old college try. Yes, those people I've subscribed to. Wait! Oh! Drama Hen. Ooh. EPs? I see. Thanks, Marty. Isn't that interesting? Raw vinyl rip. Synopsis horribly translated. Huh. Interesting. Cool. I'm not gonna get much else. Maybe if you do this. Maybe if you do this. You never know worth a try. You never know worth a try. Oh, there you go. Okay, cool. Well, not too much luck. Oh well. Worth a shot. The guy, one of the other directors besides Takahashi and Tomino that worked on that Dark Knight's drama. Let's see. Oh yeah, he's around. He's a Sunrise boy. Pretty major director for Stardust Memory. Cool. Igloo as well. Director for Origin. Damn. Neat. Yep, that was pretty much the extent of the ones I thought were interesting. I wanted to check out. Now let's go to hour 30. Let's go to some strange choices. Dice. Despite looking, I've done D-Gramman already. Despite looking to all intents and purposes like yet another anime series. Yet another anime series. Like yet another mecha series. Yet another kids series. Yet another something. Yet another anime series. I just thought that was funny. I thought that was strange. It's like, what are we doing here? You know? Daigunder. New sport in which robots fight each other. They call it new, but to us it looks uncannily like last year's Crush Gear Turbo. I wanted to look this up live just to see. So, Daigunder looks like last year's Crush Gear Turbo. Do they mean last year as in just it happened to come out the year before? Or is it the same studio and it's like kind of just what the studio is making? Similar deal. Let's find out. So, where is it at? Daigunder. Gultar. Okay. The studio is Nippon Animation and Brainspace. I imagine Brainspace is it's a 2002 show. I imagine they're just more like a subcontractor thing. But Nippon Animation. What were they made? Sort by newest. Where are we at? 1996. 2001. Look at all these like very similar looking special Panda Boken. Shaman King specials. There's our boy, Die Gunder. Okay. So the studio, last year's, okay, this is just some other random. So who, what was the other show that they're referencing here? Looks just like Crush Gear Turbo. Also, April 2002, by the way. Alright. Looks like this is a little more of a franchise. Yeah? Yeah? Does it look similar? You mean the show was still running at the time? October 7th, 2001? Yeah, looks like the show that came out a couple months later. A couple months earlier, I should say. Marty at it again. Yeah, Yamiyo is on Amazon Prime Japan. Really? Okay. I don't think I'd be able to get that, so it is what it is. Yeah, so, okay. Just a weird thing I thought. Notes. Dondo. Gultar. No more ludicrous than any other sports anime. Cool. Yeah, like it. Like it. It's great. It's great. Vampire Bund will annoy purists, but so does almost every vampire story that isn't Dracula. So maybe I purpleized a little bit. I appreciate that. I like the admitted to be like, look, our standards are pretty, you know. I don't like almost any vampires. So it's like, you can't please them really. I suppose. Dark Future. We apologize for making this sound much more interesting than it is. Why would you apologize for that, or feel the need to apologize to make an anime sound better? What's the point of writing it? You just want to be writing it as, like, objectively as possible? Or maybe that's just is the premise. And you're like, oh, sorry for making this sound cooler. Do they make it sound cooler? Are you embellishing the plot of this show? What's going on? I'm like, what kind of attitude is this? You know? I don't like it. I'm not a fan of it. As I've stated innumerous times. Cynicism is not my thing. That is my bias. I understand. I get that, you know, I can have my own bias and stuff. Am I saying like you should say everything favorably or whatever? No, but I am basically implying you need to kind of like, it's a form of put up or shut up. It's more like if you have something positive to say, you should say it. I don't see why anybody should withhold saying positive things about a piece of media unless there's some other outside, you know, like if there's something else maybe of like, oh, you shouldn't say I don't know. Ultimately, I think for a piece of media, I think if you have something positive to say, you should say it. But if you have something negative to say, I don't know if you should say that thing. I think if you're mentioning it to prove a point or to be constructive, or to give an example, you know, but even then, you do kind of have to, I think you should word it in a polite, constructive, interesting manner. You don't have to be this cutting. I know it's fun to be savage about these certain things. And don't get me wrong, I've indulged in being savage myself. You know, it is really fun. That's you know, it's been my kind of I'm coming from a place of having been an elitist and a cynic when it comes to media. I was watching fucking Soul, Pixar, the other night with my parents, and we didn't watch the whole thing. But I found myself feeling the same trappings and the criticism and, you know, and like having my problems with this movie the same way I was having with Inside Out and with Coco and with a lot of their output in the past. The same thing with Disney and I was insufferable when Frozen came out. Insufferable. And this was obviously in 2013, before a lot of like YouTube criticism got like super mega popular. Like there was Red Letter Media and I guess AVGN, but like it's kind of it. But now, oh my god, you can't get enough of it. Like, everybody has the fucking asshole opinion, right? And there was just some point along the way where I was realizing I was not enjoying stuff the way I could have been. And also I would also be like ruining it for other people. I'd be kind of like making their day worse. This didn't happen specifically. I never really had an instance where someone was like, you're being a real dick or something like that. But I kind of realized that in myself when like I would feel shitty reading a negative review, even when I'm not supposed to. Like, it's not, I didn't make that art, you know. I shouldn't be taking these things personally, but it just, you know how negative feelings can be kind of contagious, or even just if you're around someone who's grouchy, and they kind of, you know, in their grouchiness kind of throw some at you. It can kind of make you a little grouchy. I learned that from Winnie the Pooh. There's literally a whole book about, like a little storybook about how one person has like kind of woke up on the wrong side of the bed, or is just kind of grumpy, and then makes literally the rest of the 100-acre word grumpy because of they just infect everybody else, and how that's like that sort of thing. I don't know. I don't like that. Move on a little bit. That's sort of just where I'm coming from, is like I'm trying to be the opposite of a cynic, but of course I'm not trying to imply you need to be happy, smiley, Dory all the time. But you just kind of have to understand, like, you know, what you put out in the world, right? Nippon mostly does classic literature adaptations, where Hunter x Hunter 99 being the big exception. Fun fact, Crush Gear Turbo has a really weird PS1 game that's basically played with cars. Neat. And then Dirty Laundry. This was weird. The Japanese name for this is Sentakuya Shinchan. And then they say, if you think the bright childlike design of the Japanese video title indicates a pun on Crayon Shinchan, you need to get out more. So there's a little dig on anime fans trying to catch this reference. That clearly the anime is going, like, oh, I know what Shinchan is. Oh, you need to go out more. Is that what you're implying? Sheesh. One of the biggest anime franchises out there, Shin-chan. If you know about Shin-chan, you need to go out more. Thanks. Cool. Great. Cool. Great. But also, like, it's just funny that they don't. It's not because the title is literally Sentakuya Shin-chan. It's because, oh, the bright childlike design of the Japanese indicates a pun on Crayon Shin. No, like literally the name of the show is Shin-chan, and of course you're gonna draw comparisons. But like, the big thing I was thinking was, literally no one was asking. I looked at the title, like I read these articles and I read the big header. Like, you look at this, look at, like. You see how this is formatted with the big orange titles? I read that, you know? And then I don't really read the Romaji, it's called in Japanese, because I'm not really interested in that as much. But like, it wasn't until I looked back and like, why? And I'm like, oh, it's called Sentakuya Shinchan. I'm like, oh, of course I would make that connection. But like, literally otherwise, I'm just reading this article and I'm like, why? No one asked. Like, what's the point of this? No, but like the snark, what I get, like, maybe it's a play on Shin-chan, just even down to the video title. Like, that's fine to point out, but like, you need to get out more contempt for your reader. Really? Especially when you're emphasizing of all these connections and references and different media things, and like, oh, it's like this and 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 like this, and then it's, oh, you need to get out more. What the fuck? What do you mean? Whatever. Nice rage. A little bit of rage. We do a little raging. Anyway. Whoopsie. Okay. A little break? No. We're at about 40 minutes into the stream. Heck yeah. We're going to make it to 2. Nice. And we're stopping on 2. I swear. A white Gatorade for me to celebrate. White cherry, I believe, is what they call this one. Not that I read the label every time. Just for the chat. Glacier cherry. I'm surprised. I don't usually like cherries, but I guess because it's white. No, it's cool. It's cool. I like. I don't know. It's like the mystery white airheads. It's cool. I like them. Whatever, man. Man, I thought of that. Oh well, I could have just not said anything and it would have been weird. Oh well. I'll have some vitamin D as well. I also totally opened that right next to the mic, so you totally heard that. Sorry. I'm gonna take some vitamin D as well now that I saw it on my desk. I don't always see them on my desk, but then when I do, I'm like, well, I gotta take one of those. But this is open read now. If you guys have a read that to open, just things that anything starting with the letter D. If not, whatever. I think one of you mentioned, I think Greg mentioned, it was Panda Man wondering if they had an article on Musashi. Let's see if I got what they got about to say about Musashi. I gotta go put it over here. There we go. Musashi, The Dream of the Last Samurai. 2009. The legendary swordsman. Sorry. Also, if you're wondering why I wanted to do this a little early, usually I'd stream at 7, but because I wanted to finish Attack on Titan and then watch some more One Piece, which is why I wanted to have a bit of an earlier stream. But also I was done with my work, I was done with the reading, and it was like 4, and I'm like, okay, Musashi, The Dream of the Last Samurai. Have you read their article on DigiCarrot yet? I forgot. Yes. I don't know if I read it on stream fully, but they have an interesting takes on Blue Drop and Destiny of Shrine Maiden. Asking because I watched those recently. Let me read Musashi and then I'll get to those. Try to see if I have I'll try not to dwell too much. Oh, it's a big article for Musashi. The legendary swordsman Musashi Miyamoto is so much part of the Japanese legend of blah, 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 blah. I'm going to just go right to when they talk about the movie. In this anime, combat geek Mamoru Oshii, director of Skycrawlers and a sometime martial artist himself, I'm something of a martial artist myself, attempts to unravel the answer to that question of what motivated him to develop his trademark dual blade style. Supposedly born from the remnants of footage from an abortive History Channel documentary, Musashi is a non-fiction piece mixing animated combat, live-action footage, and ancient battle sites, and animated hypertexts telling the history of mounted knights across Eurasia. Director Mizuo Nishikubo throws in graphic demonstrations of sword techniques and notes on the history of the samurai, from the brawlers of the Middle Ages to the military ideals of the 20th century. The film's narrator looks suspiciously like a cartoon version of its celebrity screenwriter, of Mamoru Oshii. Oh, nice. Aided at times by a hapless doll-like assistant and, for reasons they defy explanation, an incontinent robot pig. His story comes accompanied by a whirl of musical styles, including old-school Japanese songs that relate to the deeds of Musashi in a clash of shamisen and electric guitar. How are you liking One Piece? I like it a lot. I like it very much. I expected to, and it doesn't disappoint. I finished Usopp's introduction arc, the Syrup Island or something, and I'm going to be watching Sanji's introduction tonight. And my roommate has already started it, and he's like, this isn't great. This is great. This is amazing. This is incredible. I was trying to say incredible and great at the same time, and I was about to say, like, I don't know. We like it a lot. We like it a lot. Do they have Kaikon 3 and 4? No. No, they don't. They mention it in other places, but they don't have a dedicated article on 3 and 4. Because it's like a promotional thing. They don't want to put it's Daikon 3 and 4 is an opening for a convention, so it's like a promotional short, and they don't do any of those. So that's why it doesn't count, even though it's a really important anime. Like, okay. For Oshii, it's all about the money, which makes all noblemen worth more alive than for the ransom, and the geography, which makes traditional Chinese weapons and tactics practically useless in mountainous Japan. These factors combine to create the unique approach of Japan's own mounted warriors, a class to which, according to Oshii, Musashi aspired in vain. Oshii's vision is deeply personal. I guess it's just Oshii as the writer and nothing to do with the director, I guess. Fair enough. Sure. According to Oshii, Musashi aspired in vain. Oshii's vision is deeply personal, a class-based, left-wing armchair general's approach to samurai history that glares unswervingly at issues of wealth and power in medieval Japan. For Oshii, Musashi was haunted all his life by a thwarted desire to become one of the horsemen he so admired. Born as Japan's violent centuries of civil war came to a close, but still too early to take advantage of the peaceful samurai life of the Tokugawa period. Oshii's Musashi is caught between the careers of a thug and an artist. According to Oshii, Musashi developed his famous two-sword technique in imitation of the way he would fight if ever he had a horse, which is in italics, I guess that's historically inaccurate or something, discovering in the process that it worked well against unmounted opponents. Oshii develops impressively deep into matters of historiography, the history of history itself. The two-sword technique never really caught on despite Musashi's own attempts to highlight its value. Oshii puzzles over why Musashi himself never bragged about the battle that made him most famous, and offers a scathing analysis of the uses of samurai legends for state propaganda in the 20th century. The gorgeous battle animation from Production IG and the fascinating discussion of the development of sword styles and the role of the horse in combat make it worth watching if you have any interest in history or swordsmanship. But those who came mainly for the fights may find the lecture format annoying, particularly when complex arguments are occasionally interrupted by pratfalls and comedy business. In a backhanded compliment from Manga Entertainment, Anime Encyclopedia co-author Jonathan Clements, billed as Julian Cheng, was hired to supply the voiceover in the English language release. Because you can pronounce, quote, you can pronounce all the foreign words, and you already sound like a mad professor. That's interesting. That's cool. I'd probably watch it dubbed in that case, knowing that it's him voicing a lot of it. That is really interesting. That's a great article. That was really interesting. Thank you for having me read that, Panda Man. I thought it was pretty good. I hope you were satisfied by it. Hopefully more than some other people have, and some of the other articles we've read. Digi Carrot. Shorter, I think. Adoring merchandise and commercials as the mascot character for the Gamers chain of stores in Japan, the cartoon 10-year-old Digico is reputably sold from the planet Digicarrot, from whence she was enticed to Earth by her love of broccoli. Landing with her friends in Tokyo's Akihabara district, she takes a job at a gamer store with her friend Poochie Carrot, and leporine rival Robbie Unrose. Difficult customers and occasional adventures follow, shown as part of the wonderful anthology television show. A 4-part DC Summer Special pits Digico against new nemesis from the Black Gamer Gang, whose poverty-stricken leader Pyoko intends to kidnap her and hold her for ransom. The Black Gamers often open their own shop in competition with Digico's own, though they use sinister means to keep their customers. Digico also appeared in cameos in Pia Carrot, Excel Saga, and First Kiss Story. A terminally cute 8-part video sequel Leave It to Piyoko offered little plotting or intelligent scripting, just childlike candy floss characters looking perky and sweet and doing their best to sell more merchandise. And that's Piyoko no Omakase Pio. Similar antics awaited in the Digicarrot Christmas special, and blah 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 blah. And they just describe each one. Blue Drop. Let's see. A terrible tragedy causes schoolgirl Mari Wakatake to lose her home, her family, her friends, and all her memories. She's homeschooled for 5 years, but her grandmother is worried. This was one of the ones that I think I really liked. They made it sound really interesting. Homeschooled for 5 years, but her grandmother's worried that she will lose touch with reality and sends her to boarding school, hoping she'll make friends. But instead it brings her into close contact with another girl hiding a deep secret that relates to Mari's tragedy. This short series is a prequel to writer Yoshitomi's science fiction manga about a race of lesbian aliens who invade Earth. The sexual... I remember this. I remember reading the... watching the OP on stream. Sorry if this is redundant then. It's okay. The sexual elements are modestly and decorously handled in the anime, shifting between a slice-of-life high school romance and a mechanical mecha action drama. The romance wins out despite some brief but epic battles. The art and animation are well executed and attractive, with a standout moment when the alien starship leaps from the sea like a huge whale, recalling Blue Sub number 6. Director Okura is also credited for original concept, Yoshitomi's first Blue Drop manga, blah blah blah. And sorry I'm not reading the rest of the chat. I'm trying to bang these out and try to get under 2 hours. Destiny of Shrine Maiden. Destiny of Shrine Maiden. It doesn't show up. It's a pretty generic title. If you have the Japanese title, Victor, I could try to sneak it in at the end. Reading the chat. Daikon! I love early One Piece. Has obvious Takarajima inspiration. I know. It's good. What? Yeah. It's too bad. I think if I control F Daikon 3 and you can kind of get what they say about it. Daikon 3 SF convention. Daikon 3 science fiction convention. Daikon 3 SF convention. They never mentioned the anime itself. He directed the inaugural movie, yeah. Okay, Daikon V4? Swift to adopt the tools and put them to use. Daikon 4, in an introductory animation from the convention of the same name, made by the animators who would go on to form the Gainax company, included brief sequences of wireframe graphics rendered with a shop-bought PC 9800. The first demonstrably, that's just them talking about gaming and digital animation. That is all they talk about with Daikon 4, to my knowledge. Just wait till you get to Arlong Park. Yeah, apparently that's the first really great arc, and I'm like, that's great, but like the rest of this is also really good. That makes it very exciting, of course. Oh well, Daily Life of High School Boys. Alright, I'll get you one, Alice. Daily Lives of High School. Nichi Bros. I have to find a Japanese name for that. Nichi Bro. Nichi. Danshi Kokose. Kokose. Dansh Koko. Kokos. There's no results. It came out in 2012, which like it could have been in here. I don't know why it's not. I guess it didn't show up. I'm sorry. That sucks. Very rare for them to not have to be missing some titles. Showing up late. Oh, hello. I'll die. I'll be ending it in a few minutes, but it's good seeing you. The parts where they animate his major duels with the old school Japanese songs to highlight. How was that Dead Leaves entry? You can watch the VOD to find out, I'll die. It was very interesting. It was very interesting. I gotta go back and check it out. Yeah, it's not what you expect. because there was an unforeseen aspect to it that was like, oh, huh, interesting. Yeah, it's what Greg said, but you'll see. One Piece is good from the start. It keeps getting better. Can you read the entry on Genma Tyson? Armageddon? I bet I could find it with Genma Tyson. I think this will be the last one. Because I'll be cutting it close. Oh, it's a big article too. Of course it is. Wow! They just go... I've never seen them do this. They just go straight to the opinion. They don't... Usually they give you the synopsis and then they give you their take. But the beginning of this article is an awkwardly paced and overlong film adapted from a long series of books by Wolfguy's Kazunasa Hirai and filtered through their manga incarnation by Shotaro Ishinomori. Genma, the personification of entropy, has eaten half the universe and blah blah blah. I don't want to just bear it with the synopsis. Jeez Louise, they give a really detailed synopsis. Of course they do. The first anime film from New Type Publishers Kadokawa boasts a fatuous, F-A-T-U-O-U-S, never heard of that word, fatuous pseudo-religious message, a truly awful English language song, and a cameo by director Rintaro as a flustered artist, and much hyped character designs by Katsuhiro Otomo. It also features an interesting choice from the animators, who concentrate on drawing high-quality still images at the expense of actual animation and lip sync? What the fuck? That's just wrong. That movie moves incredible. Like, they do have... Like, there are probably still images, like, high-quality still images. I'm not going to say that there aren't any in there. At the expense of actual animation and lip sync? Armageddon, Genma Tyson, the movie with the fucking Kanada fire dragon. What the fuck? Trying and failing like Dark Side Blues to cram a complex text into the running time of a mere movie, it nevertheless contained the seeds of the anime business as we know it today. Designer Otomo was so disillusioned by his experience of working on Armageddon that he resolved to do things differently 5 years later with Akira. I thought he wanted to work on that movie. This is the first time hearing that he was disappointed by it. And once again, they're like using like the artist. They're like, look, they thought it was bad, therefore bad. Jesus Christ. Not to be confused with Lee. What did that weird? It nevertheless contained the seeds of the anime business we know it today. What is that? Are you talking about the fact that Otomo worked on it and then Akira happened, and that's what's a big deal about it? For fuck's sake. Not to be confused with Lee Hyunsei's Armageddon, which was distributed by Manga Entertainment as anime, but actually made in Korea. Genma Wars is a 13-part remake, also released in America. They didn't even talk about it. They're like, oh yeah, it also exists. Yeah, I'm over 2 hours. Jeez Louise. I think they're mixing up the movie with the terrible TV series. I mean, maybe, but I'm pretty sure they're talking about the movie. Because then they're like, Genma Wars is a 13-part remake that also released in America. What the fuck? What the hell? So weird. Sasuga. That's not why Otomo made Akira. He made Akira because he enjoyed working on it on Genma Tyson. Don't know what they're talking about. I'd have to look at the exact source. I'd have to know what they're talking. I have to know where they're getting that from. It would be very interesting if that was a take that they had in the first edition, and they never changed it. And maybe in the 14 years between these two editions, or till now, it was only till recently that Otomo said, "No, I really liked working on that movie, and it got me to want to make Akira," type of deal, in a good sense. But it could be the other way. Who knows? I haven't seen the movie, but from what I remember, it wasn't well received. No, it's not well received, but like, and I'm kind of mixed on it. I wasn't the biggest fan of it because it is very long, and it doesn't have like the most incredibly remarkable characters, but it's still really crazy and like interesting. I don't remember what I gave it. Let me see. Genma. I gave it a good. I enjoyed it really on an aesthetic basis. It's really impressive as a movie. Can't beat Otomo Designs. Really weird and different. Like, the plot's really, like, you don't know where it's gonna go, really. I don't know. Waiting on that Shin Akira anime or Orbital. Yeah. Yeah, TV series is the one with the bad animation. Like, but fair. Anyway, I went over 2 hours. I wanna cut it off there. But this has been a great stream. Thank you guys so much for coming. It's a good time. I'm sorry, like, my face. It's because, like, I get the white from having the notepad out, and then when I take it off, it's my face is super dark. Anyway, you guys have a great week. Yo, peace. I tried to do it when I was over. Damn it. Yo, peace.